peachydragon.com. Happy creative stuff.
Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of Happy Creative Stuff. We've been modeling the 3D Powerpuff Girl model. I'm not going to show you too much of the video this time. So, we're working on something like that. And we've started modeling. We've got the body and the head. Let's continue with the rest. The arms and the legs have a very similar style of modeling to how we did the body itself. I'm going to use the capsule, which is, I think it's part of extended primitives, if I remember correctly. Yes. I'm going to go to the top view and just model it there. So let's try and get roughly the right size and then extend it downwards. Okay. So you'll see when the computer starts freaking out, it does this block mode, which I really don't like. I'm going to turn this to edged faces as well. I'm going to apply my modeling material to this capsule right away. Okay, now we need this to be roughly the right size for the arm or the leg, either or. It's pretty much the same thing. And for the same reason, we didn't want a lot of height segments on the body. We don't want a lot of height segments on this because I still want to be able to make the top narrower or wider depending on what we need. So let's make the radius less. Get it down to maybe about there. And let's see, I think there might be, that's total height. I wonder if there's a height for the cap itself. I don't think so, so we'll have to do that manually if we want to change it. Okay, so let's move that over. That's probably still a bit too wide for the arm. Let's do it like that. Okay, now I'm going to convert this to an editable poly. And I'm going to select all the edges, all the verts, all the polys from the top. And then we're going to resize those. It'll be easiest in the top view. So I'm resizing them to bring it to a point. That should be fine. Whoops, don't want to move just that. I'm going to move the whole thing. There we go. Now I think maybe it's too long. So let's just bring that down a little. And now in order to give it a more, just a better geometry, much better, it needs much better geometry than that if it wants to bend, so we're going to have to bend it. I'm going to select all of those lines there, and then we're going to connect them all. And we want to have a nice square looking model, so we'll increase it until the polygons end up being quite square. Remember that with an editable poly, sometimes during rendering you need it to be a bit smoother, so there's no shame in turning on a little bit of use norm subdivision, which you can't see it now, but see what it does is it pretty much doubles the resolution. Just remember not to collapse the stack or convert it again while that's turned on, because then the effect will be permanent. Okay, so I could position this now. We do want the base. I'm just going to select an object. Okay, there we go. So now if I want to rotate this, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees this way and move it roughly, because you want the connection to be in the right spot so that when you bend it, the rest falls in the correct spot relative to that. So I'm going to add a bend modif. Let me just see it's in the correct position there. Let's see what this looks like in our perspective view. Struggling here today. Let's just zoom out. Okay, I see what I think I know. There we go. We were behind the reference plane. Okay, so we've got something going there. Let's add a bend modifier to it. Bend, and we'll make the angle 90 degrees. Maybe not 90, maybe let's make it 70 degrees. I'm going to change the direction full 180, so it's pointing downwards. Okay. Now you'll see this definitely, what it does is it's also stretching the arm a bit, which we might not want. And we'll look at how to fix that. We're going to limit the effect because we don't want the whole arm to bend, we want to confine that. And this is one of those elements that can be quite confusing if you've never used it before. You have to sort of see it, take the lower limit down to where you want, but your upper limit is still stuck where it was. So what I'm going to do is open up the bend modifier and take the center. I'm going to move that center downwards. So you'll see there are two yellow blocks. So the 1 will be the start of the bend, and the lower limit will be the end of the bend. There we go, I think that's quite decent. Now the bend makes it difficult to judge the scale that you need. I'm going to rotate the arm from the base. Okay, we also want the anchor point to be correct for the rotation. So I'm going to go to the third tab here and select Affect Pivot Point Only. And we're going to move that pivot point over there. Whoops, that's the wrong object I've selected. I could lock the background, but for various technical reasons I'm not doing that right now. So I do think that the arms are too large. Let's squish the whole thing down a bit. There we go. Okay, that's not bad. You'll see I limited it quite severely on this one, so the limits of the bend, it's going to be quite a strict bend. I believe in my previous model I had a slightly wider bend, like I didn't, it was more gradual, but that's up to you. The advantage is that now when we animate, instead of going through all the rigging for such a simple model, I can simply change that, and I can rotate the whole object. Okay, I want to, yeah, local rotation is fine. Can rotate it from there. There we go, perfect. So now to make another arm, you simply duplicate this one by holding down Shift, and we're going to mirror it, and that should be absolutely adequate. Okay, if you do want the arms to be a bit thicker, if you're not happy with this, we can take the bend modifier off. Let's maybe do that just to see how it's done as well. Actually, there might be some issues. Okay, if you wanted to change it later, let me show you what would happen. Now I want to make a specific selection. It's going to be easier if I put the arm back in 360 degree align mode. So I'm just going to put it like that. My terminology is all mixed up, but you know what I mean. Select that. Now, if I make this larger now, the problem is that it'll only, you see what happens. So we need to turn on soft select. And it color codes the selection for us. Maybe we want the fall off to be a little bit, there we go, like that. And now you'll see that allows me to still make it thicker. And we can do the opposite on that side. If you want to make that side smaller, we have that option as well. Okay, so there you just potentially learned a new trick. Now the bend seems to be broken. I think let me just remove the bend, and we'll quickly add that again as well. Oh, that's the wrong modifier. Let's add the bend. Please ignore my cell phone, it's talking to me. Beautiful tones of, forgot the guy's name, the voiceover artist, he's amazing. Okay, the bend, let's once again make it roughly that. We'll make this 180 as we did previous. We're going to limit the effect, and we're going to turn down the lower limit. We're going to move the center. To be roughly around where the elbow should be. That actually looks quite decent like that. Okay, I'm happy with that as it is. I'm going to rotate the whole arm a little. Let's rotate it more so our hands are sort of touching. So you'll see in this case the arms are quite a bit thinner than the reference material, but the arms on these are quite abstract, so you really need to use your own discretion. In the cartoon there are times when you definitely need to make the arms larger or smaller or longer to simply fit in with what needs to happen. It's one of those little quirks of the show that we love and hate. Okay, very simple. Let's quickly do the legs. It's going to be an extremely similar process, almost exactly the same process. So caps tool, got it going down. You don't want to make them too long because when you bend them and rotate them, you're going to run into problems. So think about the anatomy of the girls. The pelvis can't really be higher than that. So take that into consideration. Okay, the legs around there. That should work. Might not be perfect, but it's close enough. Adding my modeling material to it. By the way, if you want to ever change the colors of anything, you can just click there and change them. Like if I don't want those to be pink, if I want them to be sort of an orangey color, I can do that. Okay, back to business. I'm going to take this, it only has one height segment. Once again, I'm going to convert it to an editable poly. I'm going to select the top half, and we're going to, without soft selection on this time, because it's a different process, we're going to make that smaller. There we go. And I'm quite happy with that. So now we're ready to do the connect, just like we did previously. The soft selection dialog is taking up a lot of space. Connect, turn that up. There we go. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. Okay, sometimes you just need to scroll up and click on your selection again to turn it off. Now I can rotate it ever so slightly with angle snap turned on. And I make a copy. Okay, and mirror that. Okay, now for this also you'll put a bend. I'm not going to do it again, but it's exactly the same process. You're just going to throw a bend modifier on there and position the bend around the knee so you can get your bend around the correct area. Okay, we're going to move on to the next video now, which will be how to do specifics, in this case the bow on the top of the head. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, tell us what you think, click the like button below. Otherwise you can follow us and send us messages on our Facebook pages. We've got 2 of them, our Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTube channel, or our traditional websites if you like that kind of thing.
This video is awesome. PGDragon.com. Happy creative stuff.